Hello and welcome to Las Blancas Podcast.
Welcome back to a special episode of Las Blancas. We are recording this to discuss a few major talking points from our games against Real Sociedad and Eibar. Both the games which we won 3-0, keeping two clean sheets. In the process, there were some records broken. There were some debuts that we have to talk about, and we'll be making it a quick one. We are trying a new format to talk about these things moving forward, so that these are in a digestible form for everyone listening as well. And to do all of that, as always, I have Kanita with me. Kanita, let's dive right into it. Real Sociedad game, Caroline Weir scores and becomes the outright all-time leading goal scorer for Real Madrid with 40 goals. She's already the all-time leading assist provider for Real Madrid with 31. A player that joined us like 3 years ago is already has written herself all over the history books, part of our first Clasico win and everything. She has scored hat tricks for us. She has done she's everywhere. Like, if you look at Real Madrid folklore, she is everywhere, right? Like, she is arguably one of the biggest players that we have had, one of the most influential players that we have had. uh and yeah, that's another record broken from her. And I think it won't be long before she reaches 50 goals, first player to reach 50 goals for Real Madrid as well. And hopefully, maybe not this season, but maybe early next season. We don't know if it happens this season. She can do it. We all know that. But yeah, what do you think about her, and what do you have to say about this achievement? Now the same player holds the record for both being the highest assist provider and the highest goal scorer for the club.
Yeah, so she became the joint highest top scorer in the El Clasico with that brace.
Classic.
So yeah, that was,
Yeah.
from the historic game to, 1 week later, breaking that record against Real Sociedad. And I don't know, like she's just a magical player. We time and time again, we always have the Weir's World part of the podcast, and for a reason. And yeah, she came 3 years ago, but she also got injured last season. She
Yeah.
missed the entire season due to ACL injury. She was recovering. So, she did all of this practically in 2 years. And as soon as she came the first season, she made a name of herself, and we knew like this is our Galactica, right? And well, actually, recently Scotland also put up a documentary named Galactica. So if you
Yeah.
want to watch that. And yeah, I mean, she's for a reason. And I think a lot of more good and brilliant things we have, coming from her. And I honestly, I'm very excited whenever she plays. She always makes the games better, even if the game is utter nonsense. She always has this her magical touch and all. So yeah, I am just, I don't know, bedazzled by this player. And yeah, much more to come. And now she surpassed Esther, and we know how much of a goal scorer Esther is. So yeah, in like 2 and something years of playing, we're managed this. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Esther is also killing it in the NWSL. But yeah, like you mentioned, to put it into context, like, we are missed an entire season. Like, if imagine the numbers that would have been if she had played all 3 seasons. And if you look at it in terms of, her appearances as well, I think she has some 70 odd appearances as well for Real Madrid, and she has 71 goal contributions. So it's almost like she is guaranteed a goal contribution every time she steps on the pitch, which is ridiculous if you think about it. A player to, whenever she's on the pitch, she is going to contribute a goal. She's either going to score or provide an assist for you. It's crazy to have such a player in your ranks. And you mentioned there have been games where we haven't played much, but she has literally carried us through with a moment of magic multiple times, especially in her first season, when she was doing everything right. Like, she was picking the ball up, she was pressing, she was picking the ball up, she was passing it around, she was making the run into the box, and she was scoring the goal as well. She was doing everything, and she continues to do so. But now, with Linda Caicedo as well in the team, we are getting to see that sort of chemistry, that sort of help for her as well. So a lot of the times, if Weir is having an off day, which she has in this season a couple of times, we have been saved. And I think, long should it continue. I hope Weir continues till we win our first trophy, and I hope we don't have to wait long for it. I hope next season is the season where we end up with a trophy at least. And I think if we are to do that, Weir will be at the heart of everything we do, right? And I'm super excited, and I'm super happy that she plays for our club. A lifelong Madridista. You mentioned that documentary that Scotland put up. There's a whole discussion about how crazy it is to think about that a young girl playing in her backyard with a Zidane 5 shirt, gets to play for Real Madrid, become the all-time leading goal scorer for the club, become the all-time leading assist provider for the club within practically 2 seasons, and etch her name in club's history forever. Whenever the women's team will be spoken about in the future, there will always be talks about players like Aslani. There will always be talks about players like Babette, Ivana, Esther, and of course, Caroline Weir. Now, like, she's a landmark player. She's a pioneer of this club, and I hope long it continues. Sometimes these stories that women's football writes, it's just beautiful. These players in their childhood wearing a Madrid jersey with the player that they like at the back. Where when the dream seems so distant, and now to fast forward a few years, they are the leading goal scorer and assist provider for that club. It's crazy to think about. And yeah, I mean, historic moment after historic moment for her. First scoring a brace in our first Clasico win ever. Then the next game going and breaking the record for the leading goal scorer of the club. Every goal she scores is basically a record breaking goal at this point. So yeah, very, very happy to have such a player in our ranks. This was the major talking point from that Real Sociedad game. Let's move on to the next game. Let's talk about the Eibar game, which, we had a sort of a revenge sort of scene going on here after losing 1-0 to them earlier in the season, after getting absolutely Eibared in that game, after conceding early, a line of 6 and all, unable to break it down. Frustrating game, that one. But this one was pretty straightforward. We ended up winning comfortably 3-0, no real threat from Eibar, and I think that is what you expect. That sort of professional performance is what you expect from the club. But beyond that, I think the main talking point in this game is how it highlighted Real Madrid's academy and the work that is being done and the players that are coming through. And I think we need to especially talk about the player who got her debut in this game, Sylvie, who came in for Mail El Akrar and played an entire half as the centre back for the team. And brilliant performance, right? Like, this season, I think the youngsters that have gotten their debuts have really impressed. And these are players who are like 16 years old. Sylvie herself, 16 years and what, 346 days?
Yeah.
346 days. This 16-year-old stepping up for an entire half and playing against a first division side no less, holding her own, playing comfortably, not making any errors, playing it safe. That's what you want to see. And this game also had Irune later on play on the field as well, who has been carving out a name for herself among the fans, among the team, especially after the injury for Tere. What do you make of Sylvie's performance in that game, and what do you make of these youngsters coming through the ranks now?
Yeah, I was really pleased to see that, a young center back got a chance to play an entire half. And she came on for Lacra. She obviously took that left back position, and I she was very solid. There were a few defensive actions as well. They were in build up as well. She looked pretty decent. The maybe the decision making can get a bit quicker, but she's still young. And but obviously, I mean, I've seen even those decisions she did make good ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was in build up even when I saw her like going wider, and Angel Dal would go in like the third center back in build up. And she and Angel Dal especially, they're communicating, and I loved to see that. And as well, when on her communication with the left side, very very solid performance. Loved what I saw. And she was also she has been part of the squad list for some time, even though she just debuted. Because, well, yeah, we've had obviously problems with center backs, and now we've lost Rocio until the end of the season. So yeah, she got her chance finally. But yeah, since she has been in the squad list, I guess she's been training with the first team for quite some time. I think for the like majority of 2025 so far. She's been in the squad list. And yeah, I mean, Rune, we already know she also played against Arsenal in the first game, so another big moment for her. So I'm really glad to see. I mean, we talk about Rune whenever she steps on, and we love how she plays. And just seeing, just getting to talk about academy in this light after, I don't know, a few years of complaining about why not just incorporate academy more. And now we've seen three players so far this season debut. There was also Elsa. And yeah, I mean, I love to see this. I love to see improvement in incorporation of the academy players, and I'm very pleased with Sylvia as well. So
And like it's not just these players. We also have Comendador in our ranks. We have Marisa in our ranks. So there are these players who have done really well for the Spanish youth teams. And honestly, like while we are discussing this, it clicked like the first thing that we discussed was a legend of the game, a senior player, a player that is the leading light in the team, Caroline Weir. And on the other end of the spectrum, we are discussing these 16-year-olds coming through the ranks, making just their first start, making their first appearance for the club. It's good to see that, right? Like it's good to see that we have this healthy balance, we have experience as well, and we have excellent youth coming through the ranks. It really fills me with a lot of joy, with a lot of pride to that we might be able to witness these young players career from very close. And Comendador and Marisa that I mentioned, they have been doing really well, scoring really good at a really good rate for the youth times. Comendador, I think, in this international break also scored a hat trick for the Spanish youth side. So these are players that can get minutes, can fill in vital roles in the squad without us having to spend much. And it's all about trusting them. It's all about giving them minutes. And I think Marisa's performance, if you put on that whiz that we were looking at earlier of her performance against Eibar, I think the thing that we mentioned, like she played it safe, she played it confidently, and the thing was, she wasn't looking phased much. Like the occasion or anything did not get to her. She just played, kept it simple. Like you mentioned, she was covering up for the fullback as well, defending wide areas as well very well. Her passing, as you can see, she only misplaced, I think, one or two passes out of her 32 that she attempted. And I have no complaints about it. I don't want her to, take unnecessary risks to break lines and everything. She can take it easy. She's just 16, playing it safe, not losing possession, retaining possession, and making crucial defensive recoveries and defensive interceptions, I think is vital. I think her defensive actions were pretty clean. She won most of them, which is what you want from your center back. And I was very happy with her performance. Like, she was not afraid of, when our lines were high, when Eibar were falling back and we were getting into their half. She was comfortable maintaining that high line. She was okay that, she was okay with the risk that if they get in behind, she'll be able to recover and she'll be able to defend. And her passing as well, like I mentioned, very safe, just straight to the point, picking up the nearest available option at every opportunity, no risk taken. And I think that is a perfect thing for her, for a 16-year-old who's making her first appearance for the club. So I was pretty happy with that performance, and hopefully we get to see a little bit more of her till the end of the season. Now, there are no other trophies left to compete. Of course, there's the league that is still going on, and we are in the title hunt per se, with just 4 points separating both the teams. So yeah, I mean, hopefully in these remaining 5 games that we have, we get to see more of Sylvie, more of Irune, maybe more of some of these other young players as well, maybe more minutes for Carla Camacho as well when we can. Up next we have Real Betis. So these players, it's a good opportunity for these players. We have historically done well against Real Betis, and Real Betis are among the bottom two teams in the league as well. So it would be a nice time to sort of give minutes to these players and test them out, and maybe look at which players you want to retain for the next season, right? And I think the future is great. The current crop of players are breaking records, so it's a great space to be. And I hope that a combination of this youth and a combination of this experience helps carry us forward and helps move us forward into a brighter future with lots of trophies. So yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. We have both our leading all-time leading goal scorer lifting a trophy alongside these 16-year-olds lifting their first trophy for the club. That would be some moment. But yeah, I think the games against Real Sociedad and Eibar really highlighted that, the sort of contrast between the experience and the youth. And I think that was lovely, and it needed to be mentioned. So yeah, anything else, Kanita, that you would like to talk about?
No, nothing else. Just, poetry, as you said, with from the senior side and with the youngsters. I mean, it's just poetic. So, chef's kiss.
Yeah, long it may continue. And yeah, up next we have Real Betis. I think this might go out after the Betis game, because the time frame when we are recording this and between the Betis game to start is a little tight. So this will go out, but this is a standalone thing. So you can listen to it afterwards as well. And hopefully we end up with a win against Betis. But yeah, thank you for listening to us, and until next time, Ala Madrid.
A la Madrid.